Did you know that by age 10, most kids have already seen pornography? It's a startling reality that many parents are still unaware of. But here's the even more concerning part. These children are often pretty overwhelmed with what they've seen, and they don't have anyone in their life who can help them make sense of it. Welcome back to the Dula Johanna podcast. In this episode, I'll share insights from my recent experiences teaching sex education to sixth graders and provide practical strategies to open up these crucial conversations, because if we don't talk to them, the internet will. Let's change that together. I guess the school asked me to teach sex ed because of my background in biology and childbirth education. I was excited about the opportunity, as well as a bit nervous, as I only taught adults so far. When I walked into that classroom, I could feel the anticipation in the air. The kids were nervous, and it was obvious that sex education was a topic they weren't used or comfortable to discussing openly. Some of them couldn't even make eye contact with me at first. But by the end of the day, something really shifted. We were discussing all topics related to sex and puberty you could think of, eye to eye. We were laughing, and especially when we checked how much water different sanitary pads and tampons could absorb. And I am sure their highlight was when they got to put a condom on a cucumber. I made it my mission to talk to them about the beauty of puberty. I wanted them to see it not as an awkward phase to get through, but as an incredibly powerful time in their lives. Puberty has a biological purpose. It's when our bodies start to prepare for adulthood, and there's so much more to it than just the physical changes. It's a time when their brains are wired for creativity, learning, and development in ways that are absolutely unique for this time period. I described it to them as having superpowers, the kind of learning abilities and intellectual potential that can help shape their future. The more they could appreciate these changes, the more confident they got. I spent one full day with the boys and another with the girls. Initially, I thought their questions would be straightforward or shy, but the reality was far from that. What struck me was how much they had already been exposed to and how little they truly understood about what they had seen or heard. In the beginning, there was a lot of giggling and shyness, but as we began to discuss all sorts of topics freely and they realized that I wasn't afraid to talk straight to them, they started to open up. I explained the powerful changes their body were going through and why puberty is such an incredible time. I really tried to reframe the perception of puberty as something awkward and embarrassing into something powerful and important. By the end of the day, the kids weren't just listening. They were engaging in discussions and asking questions that really made me realize how little they had been taught about their own bodies and sexuality. And some of their questions absolutely floored me. The boys asked things like, why do people have group sex? Or how much does a prostitute get paid? These were 12-year-old boys. Almost all of them had already seen pornography. Some by accident, some out of curiosity, and some because a friend showed them. But here's the thing. They didn't know how to make sense of what they had watched. They were confused, and no one had ever had a chance to explain it to them in a way that actually helped. One boy looked me straight in the eye and said, "I wish someone had explained what I saw to me, so it made sense." That moment has never left me. It was raw, honest, and heartbreaking in a way. On the other hand, when I spoke with the girls, their questions were just as urgent, but completely different. They wanted to talk about contraception, pregnancy, and how to protect themselves from sexual assault. Their curiosity was open and brave, but there was an underlying worry in the way they asked. What is the safest form of contraception? Or how do you avoid getting taken advantage of? These weren't just abstract concerns. These were real concerns that they carried with them even at 12 years old. And it made me realize something. We think that kids aren't ready for these conversations, but the truth is, they are already having them, just not with us. So where does that leave us as parents? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Our kids love us, but they might not feel comfortable asking us detailed questions about sex or their bodies and relationships. And that's okay. What matters is that they have trusted adults to turn to, people you choose, who will give them honest, thoughtful answers. My hope is that as my daughters grow up, they will always feel safe coming to me with their questions. But I also know that one day they might need someone else, a teacher, an aunt, a family friend, who can give them guidance when they feel too awkward asking me or my husband. One of the most powerful ways we can teach our kids about bodies, relationships, and sexuality is simply by letting them see us from a very young age. Not just by having a big cringeworthy we need to talk moment, but by weaving these topics naturally into everyday life. When we talk openly about our bodies, mentioning when we have our period, or when we buy condoms, when we go for a health checkup, we show our kids that these things are normal and not shameful. When we share our own awkward growing up stories, our fears, our learning moments, we create an environment where no topic is too embarrassing to discuss. Instead of overwhelming them with too much information at once, we give them countless small moments to ask their own questions on their own terms. Sex education shouldn't be a one-time event. It should be an ongoing conversation. The way we introduce these topics matter. It's not just about teaching anatomy, it's about fostering confidence and curiosity and open dialogue. If we wait until our kids are teenagers to suddenly bring up sex and relationships, we've already lost years of opportunities to help them build a healthy understanding of their own bodies. In my opinion, sex education should start with consent. By allowing our kids to witness respectful, open discussions about bodies and relationships from an early age, we are also teaching them about boundaries, respect, and personal agency. When my daughters witnessed the birth of their youngest sibling in our living room, they saw something most kids never get to see: birth as a normal, powerful, and even beautiful event. That experience planted a seed. They know what bodies are capable of. They know birth isn't just something that happens behind closed doors in a hospital. They know they can ask questions. We can create similar experiences in small ways every day. We can normalize the simple things: buying tampons without hiding them, answering questions without flinching, speaking honestly when they ask something uncomfortable. When we let our kids see us navigating these topics with ease, we give them permission to do the same. And that's a gift that will last a lifetime. The goal isn't to be the perfect parent who knows all the answers. The goal is to make sure our kids know the door is always open to us or to another trusted adult, because they will have these questions. The only question is, who will they trust enough to ask? Puberty isn't just a time of awkwardness and rebellion. It's a time of growth, creativity, and transformation. It's when kids start forming their own ideas, questioning the world around them, and discovering who they are. And yes, part of that process means pulling away from us a little, turning to friends, teachers, and other adults for guidance. That's not a failure of parenting, that's biology. They are becoming part of the wider community, and that's exactly what we raised them to do. So instead of worrying about every conversation we might miss, let's focus on what we can do. Love them through it. Let them see that we trust them, that we respect their journey, and that we are always, always a safe place to land. Because at the end of the day, we are not raising obedient servants who never make mistakes. We're raising whole, independent people. People who will screw up, learn, grow, and if we do this right, know deep in their bones that they are loved no matter what. If you know a parent of a preteen who might benefit from this episode, please share it with them. See you again next week. Take care and be your own life doula.